Bad Bunny's appearance as the first host of the new season of Saturday Night Live was not just a simple comedy routine or a celebrity cameo. It was a cultural statement, delivered with sharpness, humor, and purpose. Because when he stepped onto that iconic stage and opened his monologue with Spanish, declaring that those who didn't understand him had 4 months to learn, he wasn't simply joking. He was putting forward a challenge, a cultural dare, a reminder that Spanish is not just a language spoken on the sidelines of American life, but a living, growing, undeniable force in the culture of the United States and beyond. And that moment immediately set the tone for the night, for his hosting, for the kind of conversation he wanted to spark. Because Bad Bunny, fresh from a massive Puerto Rican residency that generated hundreds of millions for the island, and still carrying the momentum of his 6th solo album, Debí Tirar Más Fotos, which has held its ground on the Billboard 200 for 38 weeks, is not just a performer chasing fame. He is an artist deliberately carving out a space where Latino achievement, presence, and resilience cannot be ignored, erased, or dismissed. And when he joked about the backlash to his upcoming Super Bowl halftime show by teasing that even Fox News was happy about it, before rolling a spliced edit of Fox News personalities declaring him their favorite musician and next president, he wielded satire as a weapon, mocking the very media ecosystem that has often tried to vilify him or reduce him to a culture war talking point. And this was not only clever, it was strategic, because he showed that he is willing to confront the noise head-on, with humor, not rage, with wit, not surrender. And when he switched back into Spanish during the monologue, telling the audience how much joy he feels to bring the Super Bowl performance to life, making it clear that this was not only his achievement, but a collective one for Latinos, proving that no matter how loud the detractors scream, no one can erase their contributions to this country, no one can erase the cultural footprint already carved into the foundation of American life, it became clear that this was not an ordinary SNL moment. This was a statement of cultural permanence, a reminder of visibility, and a declaration of pride. And by returning to English to once again nudge those who didn't understand to use the next 4 months wisely and learn, he showed his ability to bridge, to move between worlds, to speak to multiple audiences without apology. And that is where his power lies. Because Bad Bunny is not softening his presence for mainstream comfort, he is making mainstream audiences stretch toward him. And that is why he matters now, more than ever, especially as his upcoming Super Bowl halftime performance has already drawn fire from conservative voices and political figures, with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem trying to turn his presence into a political spectacle by claiming ICE would be at the Super Bowl and insisting only law-abiding Americans who love this country should attend, a statement dripping with hostility and loaded rhetoric designed to stoke fear. And she doubled down with a tirade not just about Bad Bunny, but about the NFL itself, claiming it sucks and rambling that we'll win, God will bless us, we'll stand proud, they won't sleep, they're weak, we'll fix it. A string of words that revealed more about her anger and confusion than about any real policy. But this is the moment Bad Bunny now inhabits, caught at the center of a cultural storm where his artistry, his language, his Puerto Rican identity, his outspokenness against ICE are weaponized by critics who see cultural inclusion as a threat. But instead of shrinking back, instead of apologizing or watering down, he is laughing in their faces on one of the biggest stages in American entertainment. And while Trump himself, who has hosted SNL twice in his pre-presidency years, continues to fume at the show, hinting through his administration and supporters that maybe action could be taken against it as SNL keeps mocking him with James Austin Johnson's uncanny impression, Bad Bunny's presence adds another layer of defiance, because this is a stage Trump knows intimately, a stage he craves. And yet now it is occupied by a Puerto Rican superstar who openly critiques ICE, who proudly proclaims Latino contributions, who refuses to translate himself for comfort. And in doing so, he pushes back against the old narrative of assimilation as the price of acceptance, because instead of assimilating, he is demanding recognition on his terms. And this shift is seismic, because we are not just watching a musician making jokes, we are watching someone embody the evolution of American identity, a shift toward multilingual, multicultural dominance in the cultural sphere. And when you place that in the broader context of his career, his decision to perform a residency at home in Puerto Rico instead of a world tour, pumping hundreds of millions into the island's economy, his refusal to play by the industry's narrow rules, his success with Spanish-language albums dominating American charts, his unwillingness to bend his politics even when conservatives lash out, what emerges is the portrait of an artist who is redefining what it means to be a global superstar. And his SNL monologue is the latest evidence that he is unafraid of confrontation. Because even in comedy, even while joking about Fox News calling him their favorite, he was holding up a mirror to the absurdity of the criticism against him, exposing how flimsy and desperate it really is. And while his detractors cling to tired talking points, he is moving culture forward, pulling audiences into a space where Spanish is not an accessory, but central, where Puerto Rican identity is not a side note, but headline, where Latino achievement is not buried, but highlighted. And the very fact that his Super Bowl halftime show is already framed as a battle in the so-called culture war proves just how significant he has become, because if he were irrelevant, no one would care. But the fury of his critics is the surest sign of his impact. And it also proves why his message matters, because when he says, "It's not just my achievement, it's everyone's achievement," he is pointing to the truth that his rise is not isolated. It is connected to a broader arc of Latino influence and success that can no longer be denied. And that is precisely what makes his presence on SNL, his presence at the Super Bowl, his presence in global music charts so electrifying and so threatening to those who cling to old hierarchies. Because what they are watching slip away is the illusion of cultural control. And Bad Bunny is not just performing, he is dismantling it with laughter, with confidence, with music, and with an unshakable pride that refuses to bow down. And while Trump's parody alter ego on SNL may claim "Daddy's watching," the truth is millions are watching Bad Bunny. Millions are cheering. Millions are ready to see him light up the Super Bowl. Millions are already celebrating what he represents, and no amount of tirades, threats, or conservative backlash will change that. Because what Bad Bunny proved on that SNL stage is that he is not afraid, not intimidated, not apologetic, but determined to claim space. And by doing so, he forces America to confront itself, its diversity, its contradictions, its cultural future. And that is why this moment matters so much more than just comedy, so much more than just music, because it is about identity, belonging, and the unstoppable force of cultural change that is already here, already reshaping everything from television to politics to sports. And it is here to stay. And that is the legacy Bad Bunny is carving. One joke, one song, one Super Bowl, one SNL monologue at a time, showing the world that Latina voices are not guests. They are not side characters. They are central, permanent, powerful, and they are not going anywhere. And if you don't understand, you better start learning, because the clock is ticking and the language of the future will not wait for you to catch up.